I don't know what to call. So if you've been living under a rock, Big Nick recently went on the H3H3 podcast and talked about why he left the Vlog Squad, and mostly what it boiled down to was like the way that David's brand of humor involving Big Nick just really had like took a weight, like had a really strong weight on Big Nick as like a person. And like his role in the vlog was definitely like the token disabled, like crippled kid, and like that was like the joke. The joke was he was disabled and nothing else. It's very common for disabled people to be like the butt of the joke, and I think that this isn't like an isolated incident. Like, yeah, it's really fucked up that like David, you know, tokenized Big Nick in this way and made him feel this way with all of these horrible jokes. But I've like also seen some people talking about like, well, you know, Big Nick did allow it to happen. And like, yeah, he did, but like at the same time, it's definitely still not his fault. Because like as someone who is disabled, I would say that I've definitely been in that similar position. And so like I don't know Big Nick, obviously, don't know him personally. And I don't speak for every person with a disability when I talk about this, but like at the same time, I fully understand like where he was coming from in that, you know what I mean? Like there's been quite a big chunk of my like life in my formative years of like middle school and high school when I was really trying to come into myself, where on like this like long journey and quest of like seeking acceptance, I allowed the people around me to treat me any kind of way, just because like I was already feeling very isolated being the only disabled person that I knew. So and if the jokes and if humor was the only way for me to connect with other people around me, then like, yeah, it must be fine. And so like I kind of want to like make this video and like get into that because like I don't see very many people talking about it, and I think this is a pretty good opportunity to be like, hey, like this is not an isolated incident. This is a lot more common than you'd think it is, because like it's easy to sit back and be like, oh, well, like, yeah, that's fucked up, like why would David do anything about that? But like don't forget that like when this was happening, nobody gave a shit. Like it was regular, like that was like nobody saw an issue with it. It's just like now people care, and so I want to like talk more about that. And so I do have some notes because like I can't have a cohesive thought. So if you're wondering why he put himself in that situation, like I explained earlier, I did the same thing on my quest of like seeking acceptance in the like in an able-bodied society, you know what I mean? Many people get really comfortable because like especially when you allow people to just kind of treat you any kind of way, they get really, really comfortable. And what I did is I allowed people to cross my boundaries just because I wanted them to like me. And like I think that that's kind of what played into like Big Nick's situation, is like he just wanted some friends to kick it with, and as long as like they like made the jokes and like laughed and like they thought he was funny because of it, then like he got to kick it with the gang, and like that was good enough at the time. When I was like younger, I was very, very insecure about my place in the world as a person with a disability, because like as like an able-bodied society, you guys are taught to not ask questions and to like be very like secretive and dodgy about these things, and all that does is like breed ignorance. So no one knows how to interact with people with disabilities, and then that just like I don't know, I felt very ostracized because of it. And it wasn't like intentional, like people weren't being malicious, I don't think. Like a lot of the times people thought that they were being kind, but in reality it just came off as like patronizing and like infantilizing me, because like I am not a baby, I can do many things, but if the only way I could get acceptance from other people was if I let them treat me like a toddler, or I let them mock me for something that I could not control, I figured that letting them make jokes was better than that, because like at least it's kind of funny, like funny to some people, I guess. I just wanted to be like a normal person and like be seen as a person and not a disability, and like all that did is really just open myself up to be like tokenized. And as I got older, I became a lot more aware of like these kind of like boundary violations that was happening, that I was letting happen or with the people around me and the people that I called friends. But it took a lot longer for me to step back and realize like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. And then it took even longer for me to be able to advocate for myself, and be like, hey, I don't like it when you do that. Don't do that. That shit's foul. I don't like that. And so like that kind of just like leads into like the whole topic of microaggressions. If you don't know what a microaggression is, it's an indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination against members of a marginalized group. That is a dictionary definition. I'm not going to get into like the specifics of it.
Can I cough? My pen, I have to cough. Dude, I was so
Ma'am,
tense.
you were doing far too much.
I figured since this was already an interruption, I might as well just make all the noises I need to make. Being quiet is so hard. Quiet? Bitch, I'm the loudest bitch alive. Okay.
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm not going to get into the specifics of like, and like the depths about like all the things that microaggressions are, because I am not a diversity seminar, and that's the only thing I can think about when I think about it, because good old VCU. A lot of the ableism I experienced has been casual and like just through microaggressions of like weird slick jokes, passive aggressive comments, infantilization, just being like the token disabled kid. Like those are all like very like microaggressive, you know? And like I definitely had to learn how to recognize these microaggressions, and then also had to learn how to stand up against them on my own, because like I grew up with able-bodied parents, and like yeah, there's some things that they can prepare you for, but like some things, like I would say, it's just isolating, because like you're the only, like they can only empathize so much, and so because you're so isolated, or like because I felt so isolated, I allowed people to treat me any kind of way. But like I allowed so many jokes about my disability. Like I had a friend in middle school and high school who regularly addressed me as Scissorhands, and I just kind of like let him, which was very bizarre. And when I was younger, I just like didn't have the faculties to like advocate for myself for that. Like I felt like, to me, it felt like if I couldn't take the joke, then I couldn't hang, and like that is very much the kind of environment that David Dobrik fosters, and that's something that, you know, Big Nick had touched on. There should like be no reason why your humor, it can only be based on disrespect, because like that doesn't make you funny. Like if you can't be funny without disrespecting somebody, like then you're not funny. And like there's definitely ways to joke about these things, because like for me personally, I make jokes about my disabilities, because like I think like Molly Burke had said it, like my roommate had mentioned it earlier, that like Molly Burke had said something along the lines of like when she tells a joke, she wants the people around her to laugh because it makes her feel like they're comfortable with her disability. But if they get uncomfortable with the joke, then she gets uncomfortable, because then it's like, okay, there's something about this that does not sit right with you, and like that makes me uncomfortable, and I feel the same way. And so like there's obviously ways to be humorous and to like joke about like disabilities and things like that without being offensive and like punching down. Like a lot of the jokes that I make with my friends are acknowledgements of my disability rather than like mocking it, if you know what I mean. So because I'm a very independent person, I do a lot of things that like, you know, people wouldn't expect me to be able to do, but then like once you get to know me, you get used to seeing me be independent. And so then like there's sometimes where I do ask for help. I'm like very open about like when I need help with things, and like sometimes if people forget that I have like a disability, and I've had people tell me that all the time. And so like a lot of my humor comes from me being like, yeah, well, I don't have thumbs, so I can't do that. And like that's just so like it's so blunt, and it's like kind of funny, but like it's not me being mocking. Like I'm not mocking the fact that I don't have thumbs. I just simply don't have thumbs, and so sometimes there's just some things that I can't do, and like that's totally fine. And like it's definitely all about the intent, because like my humor and my friend's humor does not revolve around my inability to do certain things, or the way that my disability makes me walk, or the way that my disability affects any other aspect of my life. Like and I think that that's like just like a societal thing. Like society, like you got like able-bodied people are so used to just not taking disabled people seriously, and that like we've been like the butt of the joke for so long that like I think that it's really time that we start, moving past that, because like it's the year of our Lord 2021. We are all about acceptance and learning, and I think that this is just the next natural step. We need to start holding people accountable and like really just treating each other better, because like I'm more than and many of the other disabled people that I know are more than willing to have like open conversations with like able-bodied people, and like a lot of my friends, when I first met them when I got to college, we like all got drunk, and I was like, hey, like if there's anything you want to ask me about my disability, this is the time. Like you can ask me anything and I'll answer it. And like I'm very, very open about that, and I am always happy to talk about anything. And my friends ask me questions about like what it's like to do this and this and stuff like that all the time, and I'm okay with that. And like a lot of my other disabled friends are more than okay with that. We want that. We want to encourage conversation, because people are told to not ask questions, and like I think that it is okay to ask questions. It's okay to be curious. Like that's actually a good thing, to be curious and ask questions, and to like want to have this kind of dialogue. It's just like we need to, like this dialogue is necessary, because at this point ignorance is so common, like that we just, you know what I mean, like, and we can do better. And I just want able-bodied people to do better. Like that's kind of like the whole point of me making this whole video, because I can be funny, you can be funny. We don't need to punch down to be funny. I think we've all acknowledged that like punching down humor, like it's not good fun. It's not good humor. And I just think that in this good year of our Lord 2021, if the only way that you could joke with somebody is by disrespecting them over something that you can't change, over they can't change, like their disability, then maybe you should rethink comedy as like a career choice, at David Dobrik in particular, because like you're just not funny. Like that's not funny. You're being a dickhead. That's not funny. And there is definitely ways to be funny and be open and lighthearted and positive about disability, without just being an ass. There's a line, and I think that it's time that we start enforcing like these boundaries and like setting these boundaries and like holding people accountable of like, hey, you've gone too far, and like now you need to talk about you going too far. But I don't know, I hope this made sense. It was really just me rambling and spewing opinions and things. I had some notes. I kind of followed them as much as I could, but I don't know, it's out there now. I didn't introduce myself in the beginning, but hello, my name is Theo. I'm 20. I am a 20-year-old non-binary queer amputee who is just kind of out here with a whole bunch of fucking opinions, and I want to tell everybody about my opinions, but also do a bunch of interesting things. And I would be like super chill if you like subscribed and like liked and just stuck around to see what's going on. I'm always open to having a discussion about disability things. It's in fact one of my favorite things to talk about, because I love being disabled. I love being an amputee. Life is great. And obviously my experience is not universal. So please don't take me as the end all be all, because I can only speak my own truth. But I think that's all I really have to say. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you'd like. That'll be in the description. And my Spotify if you want to listen to what I listen to. But really, if you like follow me on Spotify, I'm just gonna rummage through your playlist, because I think that my own music is very boring. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. So I'll see you some other time.